actually, if there is an enemy, and I believe there is, I think there's a hidden enemy in our culture today. And I think that enemy has three heads. And the three heads that enemy has are ignorance and apathy and complacency. So what Wake Up America wants to do with entertainment is drive a stake through the heart of those three things. We're not out to make people wrong.
No, and to shift the paradigm, and I think it's also important too, the fact that with freedom, we're free to choose, we have free will, we're free, and we're so blessed that we can have our kids sit inside of a classroom and learn and not feel threatened for their lives, or we can have parents teach their children what they view as wrong and right. And so I think it's really fantastic that there's a network that you guys have created to be a platform for that, for families.
Well, thank you. And there's one other thing that I think, if there's an underlying premise or an underlying thing that we want to get to, when I say that we want people to have a sense of taking action, something that I think is missing, this isn't to blame anything or anyone or any specific issue, but I think we've gotten away as a culture from personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
And you know, this country was founded on personal responsibility, on doing things and being passionate, but taking action for what you are passionate about, for what you believe in. And the great entrepreneurs and the great politicians that have shaped and made this country famous for what it is, a bastion and a beacon of freedom all over the world, they were committed to that. They were committed to providing people the kind of impetus, the kind of inspiration that had people take action and be responsible.
Absolutely.
So that's a little bit about it.
No, and I think also for my generation in particular, being the millennials, we are a very entitled generation, and you know, I think it's time for my generation to wake up especially. So being the president of Wake Up America, what would you say to my generation to kind of wake us up and get us to pay attention to what's going on? Because at the end of the day, we are the future.
Yes.
Your daughter and your family, that we're all the future.
I was just going to say I have a vested interest in the millennials because I have one in my family, okay? And she is the love of my life. Brooke Austin Devan is her name. And the millennials are such a wonderful possibility for this country. If I ever get down about the way things are going, if I ever get off or heated or angry or frustrated, then what I look to is I look to my daughter and her friends and what she has to capitalize on that even we didn't have. Like, we had so much that our parents didn't have. I mean, our parents were called the greatest generation, my parents, because of the going through the Great Depression and going through World War II. And they created so much industry. And from that generation came a boom in technology. And now the generation, your generation, the millennials, has the advantage of technology. And you know, every generation points back and says, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't have that. But what I'm saying is there's so much possibility in that. And because of the technology we have today, I believe that today's generation, the millennials, have so much to give that technology can bring out. So what I would say to them is the most important thing that I've found in my experience is it's important to stay open. And unfortunately, all generations are affected by their culture. And Mark Twain, I believe, said one time that the one thing we learn from history is that we learn nothing from history. And what this generation has an opportunity to do is break patterns that other generations have failed to do. This generation, if it pays attention, can learn how to solve problems that have existed for many generations that we weren't able to handle. And I think they have a way that we can live in harmony and prosperity and possibility And that's the mantle that they are now carrying into the future. So with that comes great responsibility.